Welcome back to another special edition of Cape Ann Today. Heather and I are joined by Gloucester Mayor Greg Verga. How are you, Mr. Verga?
I'm doing well, Kory and Heather. How are you guys today?
Great. Okay, thanks for being with us again. On the cusp of summertime, Memorial Day weekend, right around the corner. The
Yeah.
tourists have started trickling in. I'm sure there's been a lot of talk about beach parking and the Blinky system.
Yes, so we've changed vendors this year. We're going with Blinke. It's a company from Spain. They're getting their foothold in the U.S. and I've had a couple of Zoom meetings with their staff, and they are very attentive. I'm looking forward to it. One of the downsides to last year's vendor was they didn't have a true app. They had a web-based system. You could use their app for, I think, to check the status, but you couldn't book using an app. You could do it on your phone, but as you've known, if you've ever tried to use a, say, Chrome browser on your cell phone, it's not very convenient. So Blinky has a real app that actually works. And as of, I believe, the 27th, not I believe, as of the 27th of May, you'll be required, non-residents be required to book a spot ahead of time for Good Harbor Beach and Wingacheek. Blinky is also going to work for Stage 4 Park. So yeah, I think we're going to see an improvement over last year, which was a huge improvement over past years with the traffic reduction. And the reason I say that is the efficiency of the app is going to be helpful, but we're also going to be using plate readers. So last year, you may recall, as people came in, non-residents, there were actually people working in the booth at the beaches with their cell phones, as my Mayor McCheese using their cell phones to take a picture of the license plate. Now they'll be just coming into the lot, and it'll, just like when you do your go over the toll booths now, it's just reach a plate and says green go, and if there's a problem, they pull somebody over. And then the benefit also, as people leave, it'll read the plates and know that spaces are opening up, so we could potentially resell spaces. So real-time data is going to be a much better dashboard behind the scenes to follow and make sure there's no issues. And the plate readers should speed things up even more than last year.
Nice. And we should point out that resident beach stickers can be obtained online or at the Children's Library at Sawyer Free. Now, the Dale Avenue location, not where they moved, the Children's Library, that is open for beach stickers. You can get Monday to Thursday, 8:30 to 3:30, and I believe Fridays, 8:30 to 12:30, somewhere in there. So that's
right. You just interviewed Ryan, right, for that, and I haven't
yes.
seen the video yet, but I'm sure you both did great. But yes, so check only at the library. Some people were a little upset when they showed up with cash or credit cards, but it's check only, and it's set up like the R&V without the headache. If there are a lot of windows and there are a lot of desks set up with computer kiosks, and there's people walking around, city employees, temporary employees, who are walking people through the process of booking, getting their stickers. This is probably the last year of a sticker, because the plate readers are going to also take care of residents.
Oh.
So people who receive their sticker this year will notice that we're not writing the license plate in with Sharpie in the little white box. So next year it'll be superfluous. There'll be no need for a sticker. And I know people like to have a collection in their window, but for convenience and saving time, it's all going to be done with plate reading.
Yeah, it's beach stickers and the St. Peter's Fiesta pins. People like to collect those
Yes.
year after year.
It makes for kind of obstructed driving though, when you have too many. I know that.
Yeah, right. When you if your car's 10 years old or more, it might be a little bit difficult. But so as you mentioned, Kory, so it's at the children's room at the old Sawyer Free Library across the street from City Hall. And there's a reason for that. I guess we could segue into that topic of the fire we had, I guess, about 2 weeks ago today. It was on a Wednesday, so it's just about 2 weeks ago today, maybe 3 weeks. And I'm just going to get my camera off and just show quickly around my office. You'll notice there's no art in my office anymore.
Right.
No guitar.
So, yeah, and no guitar. It's all been taken off site to be professionally cleaned. If the murals are still in place, they're going to be cleaned by pros on site here. But as a result, the planned beach setup upstairs in Kairos had to be scuttled, and luckily the library was still able to get in there. Right now, as we speak, there's staging set up in the Kairos auditorium right to the ceiling, because they had to clean every surface of the building to get any kind of invisible residue that's still out there. So right now, the reason I have my earphones in is because there are industrial air scrubbers right outside my office, and there's that hum. I don't know if you're picking it up on the mics,
No, we're good.
but so that's why I'm here, sort of on the move between here, Pond Road, and our temporary mayor's office over at Brown's Mall, where Pam Toby and Melissa Gillis are stationed, because it's just not really conducive to working in this office with all that noise going on. So the staff is sort of working in the other offices, split shifts. It's still open to the public, 100%. The only function that's been displaced downstairs is our purchasing office, which is now temporarily in a conference room on the first floor. But the treasurer collector's window is still open, city clerk's office, and the assessor.
So any updates on the source of the fire and how much damage happened in the archives?
Okay, so the latest news I got is that it is undetermined. I don't think I don't know if we're ever going to get a definitive answer on what caused it, but I'm going to double check with the fire chief after. And the only physical damage, was in the archives office. So not the archives themselves. The archives are sort of spread through multiple vaults throughout City Hall and some at the basement of the post office and other locations. But the office, which is probably about maybe 6 feet by 15 or 20 feet long, the corner of it was where the fire began, and that corner was charred pretty well. The whole room has since been gutted down to the studs and will be rebuilt. The purchasing office, which is adjacent to it, had water damage from the hose from it leaking out through the wall onto their floor, so that's also going to be rebuilt. Other than that, it's mostly cleanup and trying to deodorize.
Gotcha.
So, Mayor, we're talking on Tuesday, May 23rd, and this is
Yep.
going to air on Wednesday, May 24th. And that evening, there will be a public meeting about the Good Harbor Creek. Do you want to give us that update? Hopefully people can see this in time.
Sure. So to cut to the chase, it'll be a Zoom presentation at 6 p.m. The link is available on the city website or the city Facebook page. I think the Times may have published it too. So as we know, we've had issues with the creek going back a few years. The last from 21 and 22, there was some cancellation. So before I got here, and a lot less so in previous years, but it seemed to have a spike last year. It's called CFUs, colony forming units, when they test the water. And there was a spike of like 14,000 and some change last year. I think the cutoff is about between 120 or 140. I don't remember the exact number of those CFUs. We've been testing, the health department resumed their regular beach testing about 5 weeks ago. The test that was done yesterday, the results should be in today or tomorrow. But the previous 4 were all at 10 CFUs. So things are looking good. This presentation tonight will go over where we left off in our last presentation to the City Council in January, but our last memo to the City Council, where we said we were going to have the DPW do an extensive testing around the area between January and April, and we would regroup, which we have done. So this presentation tonight will be with, I'll do an introduction. Jill Cahill, my CAO, will be the moderator. We'll have Mike Hale from the DPW. We'll have our members of our health department. Woodward and Curran, our engineering firm, who's been helping us out with this, will be there. We also have Dan Ottenheimer, who was the former health director, who has a private business now, to answer any questions. So we'll do the presentation. It'll be open to Q&A. Hopefully, we're going to have the Q&A function of Zoom set up, but we'll also let we'll bring them in like a city council meeting to people can ask their questions. So no smoking gun, a spoiler alert. There's no smoking gun in this, but once people see the graphics of where the testing's been done and how extensive it has been, geographically, they'll see that we're really working to pinpoint the issue. There's a lot of human DNA. I don't know if you read the article in the paper today, a lot of human markers as well as avian markers. So that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. Is it our sewer system? Is it septic tanks? Or is it just flocks of ducks and geese that are congregating on the marsh on Thatcher Road? So we'll get there, but this is a step to get people up to date, let them ask their questions. But I'm sure it's not going to be resolved tomorrow night. I don't want people to be under any misconception that tomorrow's going to be, here's the problem, here's the solution, we're all set. But we are making progress, and we're going to continue to do so.
Gotcha. Greg, anything else you need to relay quickly?
I think those are the big ones that that people should be aware of. Obviously, that one is the big one because it's time sensitive, because it's tomorrow night. We don't want people to miss it. Obviously, it'll be recorded and it'll be available for people to view later. And if people have further questions, if they missed the live broadcast and the live chance to ask Q&A, keep the questions coming, and we'll keep the answers coming.
Okay. So, and one thing, Greg, I did want to mention is the milling and paving on Eastern Ave kind of snuck up on folks.
Yes.
Is you have an update on that? And are there any other larger project like that going on?
Yeah, yeah, that did sneak up on people. I was a bit disappointed, and I was actually just came from East Gloucester, so I was in the mess going in and going out. So we're going to try to resolve the communications problem. There was, what I was told, down near Pond Road on Eastern Ave, one of those signboards that was letting people know, but if you weren't going that direction, you weren't seeing it. So we're going to improve that communication. We have added to the city's website early on in my term. We had put on the projected paving list, but we hadn't collected dates because they weren't really set in stone or in asphalt. So going forward, we're going to do our best. All I can do is apologize to the residents and businesses that got taken by surprise, and we will do better.
I have a follow-up question about the Blink A thing. Mayor, so how will out-of-town people looking to park in Gloucester know to go to that app? Is there some sort of campaign to educate people, or the sign
Yes.
on 128?
Well, I don't know about the signage, but that certainly wouldn't hurt. But if just like in the past, if they're going to our website, which is usually, that was the central contact. It was going to our website, and then they clicked to go to I'm trying to Yodel was the previous vendor. So now instead of going to Yodel, we'll go to Blink K. In Gloucester Beach Pages has been posting about it, the Facebook page which is our page, for many, many weeks. So hopefully there's no surprise. And I would assume if people are regulars who had been using Yodel last year and they're not having luck, they'll call or do a search to find out what's going on. But we've tried as hard as we could to get the word out there. Just like last year, it's not to the extent last year, because you recall we had all the local news stations were covering the beach reservation system. So I think they'll find it.
Yeah. Word with the beaches. Yeah, that stuff travels fast. So,
yes.
Okay, Gloucester Mayor Greg Verga, thanks as always for your time. We really appreciate it. And we will catch up with you sometime around Fiesta.
Right on. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.